Elvis Presley died today. He was 42. Apparently, it was a heart attack.
In the 1950s, American living rooms weren't ready for Elvis Presley. With a single curl of his lip and a swing of his hips, he sent shockwaves throughout the nation. Television stations received complaints. Ministers preached against him, and yet teenagers couldn't get enough. Elvis wasn't just performing music. He was detonating a cultural revolution. But behind the spotlight and the screaming crowds stood a young man who had once been painfully shy, bullied, and uncertain of where he fit in the world. His journey from an outcast in Mississippi to an undisputed king of rock and roll is one of resilience, raw talent, and relentless drive. This video uncovers the untold layers of Elvis Presley, the shy boy who became a global icon, the rebel who changed music forever, and the legend whose life ended as dramatically as it began. Elvis Aaron Presley was born on January 8, 1935 in Tupelo, Mississippi, during the depths of the Great Depression. His twin brother, Jesse Garin, was stillborn, leaving Elvis as the only surviving child of Vernon and Gladys Presley. The Presleys lived in a tiny two-room shotgun shack, a home that symbolized both the family's poverty and its tight-knit love. From the start, Elvis was deeply attached to his mother, who guarded him fiercely. He was shy, soft-spoken, and often kept to himself, but music gave him a sense of belonging. At church, the boy would wiggle away from his mother's lap to join the choir. The power of gospel harmonies stirred something in him, a love for sound that never faded. At 10 years old, Elvis entered a local talent contest. Standing nervously before hundreds, he sang "Ol' Shep." He didn't win, but the seeds of confidence had been planted. Soon after, his mother gave him a guitar for his birthday. He carried it everywhere, strumming at recess, at lunchtime, despite ridicule from his classmates who mocked his love for hillbilly music. Once, bullies even cut the strings of his beloved instrument, but friends chipped in to buy replacements. Elvis thanked them the best way he knew how, by playing them a song. In 1948, the Presley family relocated to Memphis, Tennessee. At Humes High School, Elvis struggled to fit in. He stuttered, dressed differently, and was labeled as a mama's boy. Some classmates bullied him relentlessly, throwing rotten fruit at him and mocking his quiet ways. Yet in these painful years, his character and artistry hardened. Living in public housing at Lauderdale Courts, Elvis was surrounded by diverse sounds: blues drifting from Beale Street, gospel pouring from churches, and country filling the radio. This cultural melting pot shaped his musical identity. He began experimenting with blending genres, fusing black rhythm and blues with Southern gospel and country twang. By his senior year, Elvis had started to stand out, not only for his music but also for his appearance. He grew sideburns, wore flashy clothes, and styled his famous pompadour. At the 1953 Humes High School Minstrel Show, he stunned his peers with a heartfelt performance of Teresa Brewer's "Till I Waltz Again with You." For the first time, he felt the rush of admiration that would later define his career. After graduation, he worked odd jobs, from truck driving to theater ushering. But his mind never left music. In the summer of 1953, he nervously walked into Sun Records and paid to record a song as a gift for his mother. Studio owner Sam Phillips didn't notice him at first. But when Elvis returned a year later, everything changed. During a casual jam session, Elvis launched into "That's All Right." Phillips heard something groundbreaking, a raw sound that could bridge racial divides and electrify young audiences. By 1955, Elvis Presley had begun touring across the South, and his performances caused pandemonium. Fans screamed until they fainted, while conservative critics condemned his gyrating hips as vulgar and obscene. His controversial stage presence only amplified his popularity. Later that year, his manager, Colonel Tom Parker, secured him a contract with RCA Records for the then astonishing sum of $35,000. In January of 1956, Elvis released Heartbreak Hotel. Within weeks, it shot to number 1, selling over 1 million copies. That same year, he released his first album, Elvis Presley, and made his film debut in Love Me Tender. His combination of brooding good looks, soulful vocals, and untamed dance moves made him the most talked about performer in America. Television catapulted him into superstardom. His September 1956 appearance on The Ed Sullivan Show drew an audience of 60 million, over half the U.S. population at the time. The network even censored him from the waist down, fearing his hip movements were too scandalous for family viewing. Instead of slowing him down, the censorship only cemented his legend. Elvis wasn't just singing songs. He was tearing down cultural walls. Hits like Hound Dog, Blue Suede Shoes, Don't Be Cruel, and Jailhouse Rock defined a generation. By the end of the decade, Elvis was more than a star. He was an icon of rebellion, a symbol of youth challenging the old order. At the height of his fame in 1957, Elvis received his draft notice. Despite protests from fans, he chose to serve. He entered the U.S. Army in March of 1958, trading his flashy stage outfits for a soldier's uniform. His mother's death shortly after his enlistment devastated him, but his time in Germany brought a turning point. It was there that he met Priscilla Beaulieu, the young woman who would later become his wife. When he returned in 1960, Elvis resumed his career with fresh momentum. He dominated not only the charts, but also Hollywood. Throughout the 1960s, he starred in over 24 films, from Blue Hawaii to Viva Las Vegas. While many of these movies were formulaic, they kept his face in theaters worldwide and his music alive on soundtracks. In 1967, Elvis and Priscilla married in Las Vegas. The following year, their daughter, Lisa Marie Presley, was born. But behind the glamorous lifestyle, cracks began to show. The demands of fame, an exhausting film schedule, and a growing dependency on prescription drugs began to weigh heavily on him. Still, Elvis continued to reinvent himself. His 1968 comeback special reintroduced him as a raw, leather-clad rocker, reminding the world of the fire that had first made him famous. A few years later, his residency in Las Vegas became legendary. Night after night, dressed in dazzling jumpsuits, he performed to sold-out crowds, proving that the king still reigned supreme. Despite the roaring applause and glittering success, Elvis Presley's final years were marked by turmoil. His marriage to Priscilla ended in divorce in 1973. His health declined as his drug dependency deepened, and his once lean figure gave way to exhaustion and illness. On August 16, 1977, the world awoke to shocking news. Elvis Presley had died of heart failure at just 42 years old. Fans flooded Memphis, lining Elvis Presley Boulevard with flowers, candles, and tears. His funeral drew thousands, while millions mourned worldwide. He was laid to rest at Graceland, his beloved estate, beside his parents and grandmother. Though his life was cut short, his legacy only grew. Elvis left behind 18 #1 singles, over 150 albums, and singles certified gold, platinum, or multi-platinum, and a cultural imprint that transcends music. He inspired artists from the Beatles to Bruce Springsteen, and his fusion of country, gospel, and rhythm and blues forever changed the sound of American music. Even today, decades after his passing, Elvis lives on through impersonators, films, and the pilgrimage millions make to Graceland. His story is one of triumph and tragedy, of a boy from Tupelo who became a king, and of a voice so powerful it still echoes across generations.